welcome to another AMA with Kadena Project Network. In this episode, we will be speaking with the team from TechFleet. This conversation was recorded on May 28, 2022, live on Twitter Spaces. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of KPN directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also make sure to follow our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy.
All right, Morgan's back.
How's it going?
Hey, man.
Sorry about the technical difficulties.
Good. Yeah, no problem. I had that experience from the first space I hosted, trying to get used to it all. So, yeah, no problem. So how have you been?
I've been doing well, keeping busy, keeping productive. How have you been, man?
Yeah, I've been pretty busy too. I have some final exams coming up for school, and I've been managing my time well though. So
cool, good.
That's positive.
Yeah, good to hear.
So, yeah, glad to hear you're doing well too. So, thank you all for being here today. Today we're just going to be talking about TechFleet, which is a DAO building on Kadena. And they're going to be helping with onboarding developers and bringing in a lot of expertise into the Kadena space. And Morgan is the lead of the initiative. So, Morgan, if you don't mind, let me add you as a speaker again. And then if you don't mind, I'll say it once it connects. So, Morgan, if you don't mind just giving an introduction about you and what TechFleet is.
Yeah, sure. So me personally, I came from about 9 years in the product development world. I have a graduate degree in user experience design and kind of came up through like running development teams, software teams that, build enterprise products in the industry in, Web3, so to speak. Currently, I'm head of UX for a very small startup that's going to go IPO one day. In New York, and that's what I do full time right now. TechFleet was supposed to be a nonprofit when it began, and it has ballooned into, the vision that it is today has kind of formed over the last 2 years as we've operated as a online community in Slack. So I definitely am planning on quitting my job at some point this year and taking this thing on full time. In the meantime, we have a gigantic community growing this thing. And we today we operate as a Web3 agency, a Web2 agency, taking on client work of all sorts. So we work with nonprofits to kind of incubate them. We incubate other types of startups too that could be in the Web2 space, the other types of industries serving tech. And we have started creating open source Web3 applications for Kadena. And that is all focused around this concept that we've uniquely built since 2020 of tech apprenticeships. In the getting into the tech field, getting into UX, getting into development is extremely competitive, and there are very little chances to build experience after school, which is what employers expect you to have before you ever get a job, which is kind of insane. So TechFleet allows that opportunity for people who are, coming in from nursing, trying to get into tech, or coming in from college, trying to get into some field in tech. They can learn by our buddy system on these projects. But what makes, I think, TechFleet unique is that we're kind of not just a venture capital fund that just funds. In the future, we're going to be actually providing the resources to build and maintain these products all over the place. So we're starting with that cross-chain crypto application that's going to be a fork of MetaMask and built specifically for Kadena, but also offers kind of akin to MetaMask, where you can connect with different EVM blockchains or other things through RPC. Overall, the focus is going to be, everything that I personally have seen as usability problems, user experience problems for wallets, or user experience problems on Kadena, sending and receiving tokens. we're trying to incorporate in this app, and apps that we build in the future will have a user-centered design tinge to them. So that is kind of like the high-level overview of TechFleet. Right now, we've got 4 projects about to start, 2 about to end, maybe another 6 coming over the summer. So anybody who's listening, anybody who wants to get into like a development or design or research or strategy role to actually do some work and build experience, if you're in that boat, these things are always open to anybody. Where the blockchain comes in for us is that in order for us to truly go decentralized in our apprenticeships, which is what we want to do, we're going to make a decentralized lottery for the apprenticeships. So instead of today, where it's a centralized process, one person kind of like picks the apprentices on a project, through some human, we want to make that involve a lottery through some type of decentralized oracle at some point in our process. And that's one aspect of our decentralization plans. The other aspect of it is obviously the way that we run as a company, as an organization, is going to be through the DAO. So there's 2 main aspects are going to be why we are pursuing blockchain in particular. The concept of TechFleet is, about our mission, about creating equal access to anybody in the world can get into tech through TechFleet.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think like that's really cool to see, especially in the Kadena space. It's kind of like, bringing in some people who have had a change of heart, but the world is cruel, so they want to pursue something else, or they want to pursue a side hobby, and they can do it through TechFleet, and they can go into Kadena if they want to, and blockchain. And that's really cool.
Yeah.
So I know you talk about some apps that you guys are developing, like K Wallet, which is what you mentioned is the MetaMask fork built for Kadena and other EVM chains. So that's really cool. And then I know you guys also are working with KadeX. They're kind of doing some of their onboarding through you guys. So if you want to kind of mention any past experiences with KadeX and how it's worked, so that maybe it can encourage some people here who want to pursue this to reach out to you guys.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I've been in the Kadena community since 2020, and we have already been talking to the KadeX team by the time, TechFleet got into Web3. But KadeX was our first kind of agreed to apprenticeship for Web3. We're still in talks with them. We're probably going to kind of kick that off over the summer. Not sure like when exactly. The dates change in product. When they do, we pivot with that. So in the meantime, before we get into the KadeX apprenticeship, which will be basically taking the application that they've launched or that they're currently working on, maybe on a V2, because they're launching V1, they're designing V2 right now. Whatever they hand off to us in TechFleet, we're going to then do what's called a usability test, which basically just tests how self-evident and how like user-friendly an application or a flow is. And that would be typically what we focus on in a research-driven project. And it could be, validating what's already been built. TechFleet also generates new things. So we can do research focused on developing a product market fit or solving a problem in a specific way, whether it be a blockchain app or non-blockchain app. So we have all different types of research design. When I say design in this context, it could be UI design, it could be solution design. We do work with nonprofits and other businesses where we design their business as well. So we could be in that capacity in a TechFleet apprenticeship. Most of the apprenticeships offer dev, so we're mostly building web apps, mobile apps.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool to hear. I think, if anyone in here, or if anyone's going to listen back on this in the future, and you guys have a vision and you want to build it, feel free to reach out to TechFleet, see what they can do for you, see if they can help you get started. yeah, I mean, it's just a really cool idea. So, yeah, I guess next question would probably be how the fleet token will be incorporated into all of this, because I see that's in your bio, and yeah, it seems like it's going to be integral to the system. So,
Yes, sir. So all projects, everybody who's working on projects will be paid. And that's kind of the point of TechFleet. Right? We don't work for payment today in the tech world. Before you get into tech, you're developing for free. You're talking to buddies who run websites and you're like, hey, let me work on your website for you. And like, or you're connecting with nonprofits through some platform. Nobody's going to give you a chance and give you payment. It's very, very unlikely. So we want all apprenticeships to be paid. The way the DAO is going to operate, the fleet handles governance, and the other aspect of the fleet token, the way the DAO is going to operate is that the treasury holds a portion of fleet, and the DAO will vote to where that fleet goes in terms of payments for projects. And so people who work on projects will have a choice to get paid in fleet, in wrapped Bitcoin, in Kadena, in Frax, any other type of token that we, the DAO, vote in the future. I want to give people flexibility from a user experience standpoint. There's going to be incentives for people to hold the fleet because when we generate revenue as a DAO, the fleet holders get a split of that revenue and profit. So if the cross-chain crypto app generates revenue because we build a bridge and we collect fees in the future, that goes to the DAO, and then that, depending on all these vote proposals, the way I would propose to operate it would be that involves some type of revenue split among the fleet holders and also goes toward future projects where we can pay and fund building things. I want this to be a self-sustaining economy where when we charge clients for work as an agency, that money goes to funding projects, building products, building services in the form of these apprenticeships.
Yeah, cool. I think in the tech space, especially now, when like funding is being democratized through blockchain and even just normal venture capitalist funds, I think anyone can really get into the space, but it takes a lot of time and effort, and it takes definitely some connections. So TechFleet being there for these kind of startups is definitely a positive. So
yeah.
The fleet token definitely seems cool. Liquid token that's going to be, I guess, used for payment, and KDA and KFrax and other things, and Frax and other kind of things will be used for payment because nobody wants to work for free. So
yep.
Yeah.
I think the other aspect of the fleet, I want to have collateralized NFT. The voting contribution of the DAO, I want to be based on your contribution in the community. So your like voting weight should be, I would love it to be based on how many projects you've completed, how many mentorships have you done, what other types of ways have you contributed to the community. So I want to hand out collateralized NFT. In theory, I'm sure Marmalade can handle this. And that's exactly one of the reasons why we picked a blockchain like Kadena. I was never going to pick anything else, but I think from a feature standpoint, blows everything else out of the water. Absolutely. So we definitely plan on involving NFT in some way, shape, or form. And I want it to have utility in TechFleet. There should be access to like educational things that you can't get if you don't have things like that. Or, I want to offer like industry standard tech certs for the people that are trying to move up into the field or move into the field from TechFleet in the future. I want to build utility around all of this because our use case is not built off of blockchain. We need to have blockchain as a means to an end. But that being said, the features of blockchain and the technology of blockchain and what makes blockchain so special and unique and powerful for us and for the world, I think, is a lot of why we're choosing the way we're going with the DAO. We could easily become a C corporation, and I would love to run it as a pure democracy because I really believe in participatory economics. So there are ideas that I have for the different ways that I want to involve the fleet token, NFT, giving it back to the people that are in the DAO, the people that have the tokens and NFTs can then use that on maybe staking and any borrowing and lending that we might build or offer from partner dApps in Kadena. So the future is pretty wide open for us in terms of the future usage of that stuff, but I do want to build a whole lot of utility around the token and the NFTs that we're going to build.
Awesome. I think that collateralized NFT idea is actually that's cool. I definitely want to see something like that in the space, and I think it could be used because I know you guys are kind of taking that CADEX route where it's more contribution based rather than just simply based off money, which is kind of a lot of DAOs and a lot of governance tokens kind of go off just how many tokens you have. So it's cool to see that you guys might be using Marmalade and NFTs to have it more contribution oriented. I like that idea. I guess can you tell us a little bit about how development with K-Wallet has been going?
Yeah, we are going to start the project probably next week. Up until this point, we've been building the team of apprentices. So we have almost a full team. The way the TechFleet works, anything that we build, every role that we have on a project has one lead and many apprentices. And the part of the learning process for someone who's mentoring is interviewing. So we kind of have them go through the whole process of interviewing people that are applying to these projects on their own. So there's a lot of work that happens before the project begins. I just happened to create that design a while ago, probably 4 to 6 months ago with other people in the Kadena community. I created that design, and then I think other people were focusing on other things, and I started focusing on a lot of other things too. So I already had that design. When we start the project, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to start a project in our group because of all the operations that go on before we start. Once we do start the project, it'll be 8 one-week sprints. And the development will happen within those 8 weeks. But at the same time, it's the entire team working on the different aspects. So we're going to be working on talking to users who use wallets for crypto about the problems that they face and validating the designs that we have in our wallet. And then the design team will adjust, and then we're going to probably hit development. So it's a training opportunity for the people that are working on the project too, to get the cadence of this development lifecycle that the teams in the industry go through. So it likely will be staggered. We'll do development and research and design at the same time at some point in those projects. And a huge component of this will be like the agile coaching, because whether you're a developer, you're a designer, you're a researcher, you're a product manager, you're going to hit agile development life cycles in the industry, and your school may not prep you for that enough. So TechFleet gives you that true work with a team in an agile environment as if you were on a product team. You're just working 10 hours a week for 8 weeks in this apprenticeship.
Nice. I think that's a cool system. I guess working on I guess what's the best way to say this? Working continuously on a lot of different things, so that way you're not falling behind on any one of them, and you definitely can keep onboarding, so that way you never run out of the bandwidth to work on these projects. So yeah, that's a positive.
And we may have at the end of that project, we'll probably have a launched GitHub repo of that code, if not all of it, by the end of that 8 weeks. So probably by the end of July, we would have some type of beta testing application that the community could use as a web. It's going to be a web extension first and foremost. And then we need to work with other teams to get it connected. So we're probably going to work with other community projects to maybe do some type of like really small beta testing. Anybody on this call who wants to be in that? Best way to get involved is just to kind of like jump into shadow meetings in TechFleet. But eventually, if you want to be a beta tester on stuff, there's going to be ample opportunities to test all the things that we're going to be building too. Probably by the end of July, we'll have that beta testing. And I believe fully in iterative development. So I don't want to necessarily hold off until all the way to the end to get something into the hands of users. I want to, if we're building a gigantic app, I want to build maybe part of that first, get it out, get some beta testing going, have some people use it and give us feedback, and then develop kind of in small chunks from there while going public with the features. So that's kind of the goal of the release will be probably very chunked. And we'll probably make announcements around this. This is going to be an open source application. Anybody will be able to use it.
Awesome. Yeah, I like the open source implementation of that. Definitely one of the features of the DAO. So I think, and also it's cool. You say you're going to go, hopefully, fingers crossed, go full time on TechFleet in the near future. So that's going to be good to see with development and execution standards and stuff like that. So Can you tell us any possible partnerships in the pipeline? If you can't speak about them, let us know. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So actually the biggest partnerships that we're working on right now, there are two. We're trying to build out an advisory board for TechFleet internally. We have a lot of people in the industry that are representing. We have some people from Carvana and Career Foundry, Answer Lab, USC, some larger names representing the advisory board. We're partnering with those institutions kind of outside the Web3 space. In addition to that, we're offering to schools, to colleges and boot camps, we're offering what's called an apprenticeship as a service, where we run an apprenticeship for those students that need to get the experience and build their portfolios, build their working examples. We'll run those operations for them, and they pay us to run them, and then we give that funding back to the people that are working on these projects. So we're starting to partner with national boot camps and international boot camps. The first one that we're doing is Career Foundry. We've partnered with them. They are going to be like pretty heavily working with TechFleet to build kind of like educational standards around before the apprenticeship, after the apprenticeship, things like that. So the bootcamp partnerships are happening outside of the Web3 space. In the Web3 space, we're kind of building partnerships with projects as we go. I've been in this, like I said, in this community for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in July. But we're always looking for partnerships in every single way, whether that be like partnerships to contributing to the DAO, or contributing to some type of like packed tutorials, or some things like that are going on in the community. I'm all about pitching in, and we're completely open. Right now, we don't have a web presence, and we're building the website, but that website's going to have some information about that stuff too. So it's a little early days in the Web3 space for partnerships, and I'm very encouraged by the amount of like support that everybody has shown TechFleet since we've come into the Web3 space as a DAO and decided to be a DAO, which was kind of in February, March. I decided to make a pivot from the C corporation world to the DAO world. But yeah, the amount of support we've received in the Web3 and blockchain space, especially in the Kadena community, has been incredible. It's been immense.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this in the KittyCAD AMA yesterday. Like the ethos of the Kadena community is definitely very. I guess, how do I say this? Like the teams in this space are very transparent with each other and communicative. We've seen this with the Kadena swap vulnerability, where the dexes could have screwed each other over, but they didn't. They actually told them. They said, "Hey, there's a vulnerability here. We should all work together and come and fix this." So that was really cool to see, and I think that's the ethos in the Kadena community is definitely beyond any other chain that I've seen so far in the crypto space.
I love it, and I'll give a shout out to the people that we've been talking to. There's so many Kadena Monster Punks, KD Launch, Cadex, Doc Shield, Timpy, and Back Alley. We've been Hypercent. I think I talked to Hypercent. They offered their support initially. I think Andre Pope did. One of the Andres did. Yeah. It's been huge. And all the new projects coming in, everybody's so supportive of the new projects coming in, and the new projects are like supporting the existing projects, and it's been incredible. It's been great. Anybody who's listening, who might be listening later, that wants to partner in any way with our DAO, we're all about the mission. So anything you can do to contribute to the mission of creating equal access to tech, Web 2, Web 3, doesn't matter if you're a Web 2 developer, that we're doing a lot of Web 2 projects right now, and we're doing quite a lot of Web 3 projects.
Yeah, and then you also mentioned all those projects. I'll give a shout out to Kadena Lifesale. Demian, what's up?
Yeah.
Man? Hope you're doing well.
Hey, Damian. How's it going, man?
I'll invite him to speak if he wants to. And then, but they've been doing a lot at Kadena Lifesales. They have, I think, some sort of Kadena mini seminar coming up. Well, I wouldn't even know to call it mini. But yeah.
Hello.
Some cool stuff.
Huh?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hey, man. How's it going, man? What's up, you guys?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, man. Like I said, I'm sitting here doing two things at once, but I'm listening to the conversation, finishing an NFT. Just some crazy things are happening, man. But anyways, I'm just like stoked to be here, and be part of the community and listening to all the great things that everyone's doing. So, and thanks for the shout out as well. We're doing some great things here, all of us, and let's keep it up.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do this all together and not at all.
Exactly.
Also, Galena's, KittyCad, Babena, all the other NFT projects, Lifesale NFT. Like, I love Galena's.
Yeah, there's too many to even say all of them. That's crazy.
I know.
I remember Kronos, or like there was this one guy, Kronos. Basically, he was basically the one who introduced me to like the whole Kadena ecosystem, right? So I remember when there were like 2 launch pads announced at the time, we were all wondering, are things going to start heating up? And now I kind of look back and like I see basically like all these NFT projects and all these different DeFi projects starting up, like Lago Finance. They're going to be building foundational DeFi components for Kadena. I'm not sure what that means yet, but it sounds exciting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. And then, there's too many to even like count now. So that's
it's pretty incredible. It's been
go ahead.
Pretty mad to see. Like even a year ago, there were very little projects, and now they're just blossoming.
Yeah, totally. Pretty sure.
Sorry, Damien, what did you say?
No. I was going to say, it's amazing how these things have blossoming. Like I said, for us who are building and for us who are part of Kadena, this thing is, regardless of the price doesn't even matter to me anymore, because I see the potential here and I see what's happening and I see what's building, and we're really fortunate to be a part of this right now, and I'm grateful, and I'm also just blown away by all of it.
Yeah, this is a good time in the Kadena blockchain.
Yeah, absolutely. I think building in the bear is kind of what's really going on here. We're seeing Cadex after their vulnerability. It seems like there was a hot fix set up pretty quickly, so hopefully they'll still be able to launch in June. If not, what's an extra month or two? We've waited this long, so should be much.
Yeah.
It's very important that is right. So I have all the patience in the world. I aped into KadeX. I believe in those guys. I'm all in with them. And I mean, not all in, but I mean, I bought all their public tokens. They have tons of promise, and they have to get it right. It's a DEX. They are the bank of Kadena, one of the banks of Kadena. They can't be vulnerable. So for me, the patience that they take their time and they do this right, I have no problems with that.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, and that is also product's life. There are always stones being thrown into the mix, and that will change your roadmap, that will change your plan, and a good product team is always there to like pivot in the wind with that. And I see them doing nothing but doing what's good for the product and doing what's good for the community and the users in this like careful audit, and also the communal work. Like you said before, Francie, the work that these different projects did to communicate to each other, because they're all using the same contract that was forked. It just shows how strong of a community this is. It shows like how serious we all are about the future of this blockchain. Then you go to other blockchains and you hear about meme coins and like all the other things that are going on in crypto that aren't the utility side of crypto of blockchain. We're serious players in Kadena, and it just shows.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So I was gonna say, Morgan, you definitely get some credit there with KadeX. Obviously, you've been a part of their onboarding process too, and yeah, it's been like really interesting to see them evolve. I remember, back when they still had their V1 website and everything else, so it's really been cool to see them grow and connect with the team over there and other stuff like that. There's definitely, like you said, been some stones thrown in the mix whether it comes to community or technical problems or whatnot. So yeah, I think that it's definitely a top tier project, and it made it through all that. So it'll make it through this.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're the future of the DeFi. They're the center of DeFi. One of them, it's not going to be a one DEX future, because it never is. I think all the competition is so good for the eco altogether overall.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, another thing I want to just mention, just to bring the real world in, I'll tell you what's happened here so that you guys have ideas to expand the community. I sat down with a couple of lawyers last Thursday and told them that Pact is a readable language that they can learn to read. And that's when their little brains, I could see them just, firing like, oh my God, it's not Solidity, it's not Chinese. And that's just a big point to like draw people into the real world. Everything that's happening right now with this conference, it's turned into a conference, is happening because of that. That was the selling point. It wasn't a selling point. I said it accidentally. So just something for you guys to be aware of when you're talking to people in the real world, especially if your project like ours has a real world utility,
Yeah, that's a great point. I love that, Katie, I bet. Thanks for joining. I think we can call you out too. Like you're using a real use case behind why you're choosing blockchain technology. Like I don't see a lot of other blockchains doing that. I don't see a lot of other projects and blockchains doing that. There are definitely out there.
Yeah.
But I think we're bringing the real world use cases to the blockchain on Kadena.
Yeah, and KDA Bet, TechFleet, you both have super professional teams, and I think like when it comes to that, you definitely need teams from outside of the blockchain space so that they can offer a fresh perspective and they can bring something new to the table, which is really cool. And KDA Bet, I know you guys also have a lot of connections within the Kadena space in general, so that's really cool. Yeah, I'm very excited to see where you guys go. especially because sports betting and making it decentralized, tokenizing on Kadena, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that all plays out, and I think it's going to end up being a big win. So
yeah, it's gonna be pretty amazing. 2022 is gonna be a good year.
yeah, and then hopefully we'll see a lot of applications start to be used, and we'll see a lot of liquidity getting to Kadena maybe later this year, and other things, So we just gotta kind of wait out this bear market and build in the meantime. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in it for the long game, you guys. I'm not selling for 10 years. So I stopped looking at the market. I'm just looking at this community, and that's where the money and the power really is. The value is in us, is in that's where, because the market is very fickle in terms of trends and charts, and everyone's looking at a bigger beast that has nothing to do, but the value of what we're doing.
Yeah,
totally agree. I'll tell you this: I haven't purposely checked the price of like almost any of my assets in like 3 weeks, which is definitely a win for me at this point. I guess I'm more focused on building out the KPN and some other things that I hope to get working on, and focusing on my life. And I think it's definitely been I've been more healthy for it, and yeah. I think if anyone here is worried about price, I mean, back when KDA had 1 project, 2 projects building on it, and it was $28. Where do you think it'll be now with, I would say, north of maybe 50 projects working on it? So where do you think it's going to be? That's up to you. But I would just say, don't focus on price too much. Focus on the ecosystem and the community.
And you said 50 projects, which is going to balloon to about 500 to 5,000 very soon with the grant.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to hopefully we'll see some Terra projects migrating over. Terra Spaces is, I wouldn't say migrating, but expanding over to Kadena. So I know you guys are having your grant fast-tracked, and thank you for being here. And yeah, very excited to see you guys' participation in the ecosystem. So yeah. I guess that's really all for me today. If you guys want to keep discussing, feel free. If not, maybe we should wrap it up. And if anyone wants to speak, feel free to request. Just do note that you have to be on a phone to be able to speak.
Yeah, I'm curious if anybody on the call has questions about TechFleet or anything that you all are curious about.
Do you guys mind if I make a point about just price and Kadena in general?
Go ahead.
Yeah, in my past life, I did a economics degree, and I always come back to the idea of supply and demand for tokens, right? So as all of our projects make a token, and we're all trying to attribute some value toward, 2 different separate entities. One, the crypto community, like how do we reward Kadenites for being crypto guys and getting into, our ideas. And then you have an actual business use case. So in terms of for betting, for instance, it's pretty obvious business. And as we're trying to tie that all together, keep in mind that the way to make Kadena go up in price is simply to put inception in the mind of crypto investors that there's going to be demand for this token. So as you see all these wonderful projects like TechFleet are coming alive and online, we got to make the case that, we're going to build big businesses on this amazing blockchain Kadena using Pact, and then transactions will flow. And as transactions flow through the demand for KDA and therefore demand for subsidiary tokens, secondary tokens, that's when the price skyrockets. It's not based off speculation and trading, people on KuCoin trading the coin and stuff like that. It's actually real products getting made that have value. And that's how I kind of view it. So let's build and crazy stuff and then cross-pollinate our projects. And that's how people come in because they see good things being built.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I think should all be driving toward. I always remember Stuart Popejoy in Telegram. Somebody asked about price in the Telegram community, like regular community channel. It was like, dude, shut up. Price is stupid. Stop talking about price. And it's very apparent that he's got that mindset too, of we're builders. We're innovators. We're pioneers, building things that have never been built before, and serving use cases that have never been solved before to this particular type of scale. I love it.
That's the way. I love it. That's perfect.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Manatee.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It's always a pleasure. Hopefully we can do this again later on when, TechFleet is more developed and we have some apps to look at. We can just kind of do a recap AMA. That'd be pretty fun to see.
Yeah, for sure. Website dropping soon. I'm working on it. Probably in the next month or so, it'll be coded and launched.
Oh yeah, awesome. And C5, I see you just joined. Sorry, it seems like you kind of just joined at the end. If you do want to listen back, this is recorded. It's today's AMA for those who just joined in. Was about TechFleet. They're going to be democratizing, kind of bringing expertise and new minds onto Kadena and onto other blockchains. So they're going to be very helpful in the Web3 space, especially through Kadena. So yeah, and thank you for being here, TechFleet and Kadena Lifestyle and KDA Bet. Been a pleasure. Hopefully we can do something like this again. So yeah, take care, guys.
Yeah, I would love to do this again with multiple projects. KDA Bet, Lifestyle, KDA Mining Club. Thanks for joining. Let's do this. Manatee, what do you think about doing a multiple project Twitter Space thing?
I'd love to do that. I think maybe we should do something like that. Maybe after an ecosystem report, because I know the account. We can do something like that. We can just kind of talk over the ecosystem report, and that'd be pretty fun at the beginning of every month.
That sounds good.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. Maybe we'll get that set up sometime.
That wraps it up for another amazing AMA. Thank you very much for listening. Here at KPN, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on each project before investing. Also ensure to follow us on our social media, from Twitter to our weekly newsletter. All the links can be found on our SoundCloud profile page. Thank you very much for listening and take care.